Hi, I hope everyone's doing well. I have an interesting topic to talk about today. Right, interruption. So, if you hear background noises, I'm in my grandmother's house in India. So, of course, there are like a lot of animals, birds chirping, and hens making noises. So, please ignore. Let's do the intro again. I had a Wi-Fi service provider in 2020, and it took me 4 long years to resolve the dispute. And I'm going to talk about the dispute and why it took so long. And if you ever get into a similar situation like I was, I'm going to tell you what you could do about it. So, introduction. I got my Wi-Fi service from Rogers in July 2020. And shortly after, few months, I had to travel to Dubai for a modeling opportunity, and I had to cancel my Wi-Fi provider services and everything. So I canceled the service. They told me that I had to return a Wi-Fi equipment like modem and everything. And when you talk to the customer representative, they would tell you the details. They would send you a shipping label to your email address. You just print it off and put it in the box or the package, and then send it to, you first take it to Canada Post, and then you send it to Rogers. They'll take care from there. So I've done the process, I've submitted everything, and then I've gone away from the country. I was in Dubai, and then 2 months later they start sending me emails which says I owe them $296 or something. I'm like, where are these bills coming from? Because right before I closed my service, I paid all the dues. So where are these new bills coming from? Like, tell me about it. And because I was internationally traveling, I couldn't get a lot of time to talk to them because, two things. First, you need a lot of time to talk to these representatives, and you're internationally traveling. So how could you call from a international number, right? It's gonna cost you a lot if you have to do that. And then the timings. So I ignored the whole thing. 2 years passed. In 2022 July, I returned back to Canada. And the moment I landed, I called them up and says, where are these bills coming from? By then, you know what? They have escalated to a credit report agency called Gatestone. And Gatestone has been calling me to pay these bills. I'm like, I'm not paying you anything because all the dues are cleared. Well, so I did provide the Gatestone the evidence that I have submitted the equipment, and then they shut the case. And in 2024, I start getting these new calls from a different credit reporting agency, MetCredit. I'm like, I told them the same situation, and they asked me to call Rogers, and I called Rogers to find out where these bills are coming from. And I have made, you wouldn't believe, over 50 plus phone calls, 50 plus phone calls asking them where these bills are coming from. They would look at the statements and they go like, they would make me wait for hours, and then they would tell me that for any account which has been closed for more than 12 months, they wouldn't have access to these invoices. Like, what the hell? So you don't have invoice, you can't tell me where these bills are coming from, but then you send me these stupid emails which ask me to pay, and then you escalate matters to different credit reporting agencies, which is not cool. So after making so many calls and talking to so many representatives, spending, I think I have spent more than 3 days of time just making calls, like 70 plus hours. So finally, I was able to talk to someone of higher authority after a lot of hassle, and they told me that these bills are all coming from. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase. Allow me a moment. Home monitoring system. Yeah, that's what it's called. Home monitoring system. So, a home monitoring system, I think, is what they have signed me up for when I first started to get the Wi Fi. So, I called the customer care to ask for a Wi Fi service. So, when I signed up for the service, They told me that there's gonna be one-time charges of $260 or something, and I agreed. But they said they would waive it for me, and that's why I agreed. And fast forward, now this lady, whoever I was talking to, was telling me that I was signed up for a home monitoring system. This is like CC cameras and other things. Well, firstly, why was I given a service which was not requested? So I did not sign up for what she was telling me. The guy clearly told me that it was for a one time service charge, but he would waive it for me. He did not say where that charges were coming and all that. So he did sign up for me, but I think the point is he was trying to make extra few bucks by adding few more products onto the service that I requested for, like Wi-Fi. And top of that, he's adding home monitoring system and all of that. So the more they add, the more I'm gonna pay, right? And they're gonna make more commission off that. I think that was the sales guy and his idea of him trying to put me in that weird contract. Well, the lady was breaking down for me after 4 long years, like, where these bills are coming from, and she tells me that it's not for unreturned equipment, it is for a home security system, home monitoring system. So I had a dispute with her because I don't own a house, right? I was only renting a house in Canada. Now, for someone who's renting a house, what is the need of home monitoring system? I don't need cameras and fancy equipment. All I need was Wi-Fi, and that's what I call you guys for. So how come you have trapped me into purchasing more products for, services which were unrequested, and that did not settle with me? And I was asking her, please provide me a proof of all of the call records. I want to hear my own call records to see how I was trapped into this. I wanted to see, firstly, they can't provide invoices because the issue that I was telling them was more than 12 months old. So they can't provide invoices. The second thing, they don't know where these bills are coming from. Third thing, I was requesting them call records because so that gives me a better perspective of it, whose mistake it was, and I can decide whether I should pay or not pay. And I can also take matters legally as well. So I was considering all of my options. The lady said she would send me invoices and everything, but she failed to do so. And after calling so many people, waiting for so many hours, I got frustrated. And my next step was to file a complaint against Rogers. So I went to this organization called CCTS, which means Commission for Complaints for Telecom Television Services. So anytime you have a dispute with your telecommunication provider, be it Wi-Fi, TV, mobile phones, any of those services, internet, you can file a complaint with CCTS. So I went to their website. It's pretty navigatable. So the moment you hit the thing, it's gonna show you options. You just choose what's right. So I went there, I filled up the forms, and I said, this is the issue that I'm going through with Rogers. Like, firstly, they are not providing invoices, bills, and everything. Now I am requesting for call records, and they're asking me to pay something that I never signed up for. And CCTS, after a few days, reaches out to me saying that they can only provide support with internet and other services, but not with home monitoring system. So anytime you are in a dispute with home monitoring system, it's not with them. They cannot do anything about it. I think that is a loophole that these telecommunication companies have created for themselves to make more money. So in my understanding, how they are doing this is they would say one time service fee or whatever, and they would add on other things that CCTS cannot legally look into. So without you knowing, they're giving you home monitoring system and that and this, and then now you're forced to pay those bills. And if you don't pay those bills, they will escalate those matters to a credit reporting agency, which will affect your credit score. After CCTS said that, I went to ChatGPT and I was asking for help. Like, what else can I do, right? Because ChatGPT is also a very genius tool you should use because it also knows a lot of information that we wouldn't. So when I texted that, it suggested me to use or reach out to an organization called bbb.org, which means Better Business Bureau.org, BBB. That's the short form. So I reached out to them and I called them up, and she was very helpful. The lady, whoever was assisting me, she said, "Go to the website." Same thing as CCTS. I put on the whole file number, case number, and the whole issue with whatever I was going through. So after writing a big email to CCTS, a few days later, Rogers reaches out to me. I did not reach out to them. Rogers reached out to me. So they were like, "Oh, we had your request from BBB.org and we're looking into it." So basically, anytime you escalate issues with CCTS and BBB, it means that the issue that you're going through is very intense. It's no longer negotiable. It's not in that state anymore. You're kind of picking up a legal battle. So if they can help, then your options would be consulting a legal team and then probably see if you can sue them for the damages that they have done. The damages by meaning the emotional stress, the physical stress that they would cause you, and also the time that they would waste, and then the money that they seek, which is not fair. If you think it is not fair, then you have to stand up to it. So I was trying to do what is right for my case. So these background noises, I really apologize. Ah, all right, where were we? So at one point, after I got the phone call from other person, I was negotiating what I can do. I was telling him all the points that you've wasted so many months of my time, so many uh, days. That's so many days. So I was requesting them for a physical, I was requesting them for a compensation, like monetary compensation or anything, And they said they can't do anything, but he said he has listened to all the call records from beginning to the end. And then he tells me that it is their mistake. They admitted that it is their mistake. So when I was signing up for it, I wasn't mentioned anything of that. And when I was canceling my subscription, like services, they said they would waive all of those charges for me, whatever. So it is them who did not do their work right, and that's why the harassment that I had to go through. So it's very bad. It's very bad. Like if I don't take the matters to BBB or CCTS, they wouldn't even take you seriously. They wouldn't even take me seriously. So and then now because it's gonna look very bad on the reputation. So anytime you raise a complaint with BBB, and if they don't resolve it, what happens is they would post it publicly on their website, displaying that this person so and so has reached out and raised a complaint, and the organization like Rogers did nothing to reconcile. So if they don't talk to me or if they don't reconcile the whole situation, it's gonna look very bad on them because they're gonna publicly review it. And that's why these organizations play a very powerful uh, role in the whole process. So anytime you're going through a similar situation, I would highly advise you to reach out to CCTS or bbb.org. They're very helpful. They're very helpful. These big tech giants are gonna come down on their knees. So at one point, you can't do anything else. You just have to reach out to them and see what you can do. You can only do a little bit with what you could do. And if you are an international student, or immigrant, you wouldn't know the rules, and which is the reason why I'm making this video. I hope this is very helpful for at least some of you. Well, I'm gonna link the companies that I was talking in this video below, so if you have any concerns you can reach out. Also, please do use ChatGPT because it is very helpful. If you don't know anything, ask for an advice and it will tell you. I hope this helps. Also, I forgot to add something. The moment I filed a case with CCTS, a case manager from Rogers has reached out to me. She just emailed saying that this dispute is due to home monitoring system, which is outside of the scope of negotiation for CCTS. So she tells that CCTS can do anything. She mentioned that in the email, and then I waited for a few more days, and then I called up, I followed up so many times, right? So I was able to talk to another case manager. This time she called me and she was like, "Hey Yash, I'm calling regarding this issue." And she was so authoritative. I'm like, I was trying to put her down, calm her, so I have an issue and you have to tell me where these bills are coming from. And I was like getting aggressive with her, and she hung up on me. She disconnected, she couldn't keep up a conversation for 5 long minutes, and she says she's from the higher authority, right, from the president of Rogers or something. So they have a department called president of Rogers or something, and then there are like a couple of bunch of idiots working for them, they call themselves case managers, who don't do anything. Well, the second case manager, so she hung up on me and I got really frustrated, and then she emails me that you're very, so she tells me that what would you expect? I'm telling you the same situation that I had to tell for 50 other customer care representatives, and I'm telling you the same thing. And of course, I would lose out patience because you have to help. You're not helping. None of you guys are helping. So, of course, the customers are pissed. They would lash you out. She was telling me, "Don't talk to me like I'm your daughter or I'm your mother," and then she hung up on me. I'm like, such a silly idiot. So she later then emailed me. She emailed me saying that, hey, you did not talk to me in a pleasant tone on the phone call, so I'm reaching out with this email, so please shoot all of these details or whatever in this email. And then I've submitted a big email for her, and I told her, you have please take 5 to 7 business days, and then you respond to me. She did not respond. Boy. And this is what I did. I reached out to BBB org, and they were giving them a hard time, the case managers. And then another case manager called me. The issue was it's all sorted, and I still did not get an email from this lady that I had earlier spoken to. So I took it very personal, and this is what I decided. I would write a harsh email for her. So I wrote back, "You had more than 10 business days to respond and you did not respond. And you don't know how to do a basic customer care job, but you are calling yourself a case manager, like a manager. First, learn the basics and learn how to talk to a customer. And when you're done sleeping, respond to this email." I mentioned that. What was she doing? She had 10 business days to respond. So I'm telling you, when these agents are misbehaving with you, you have the right. Take a stand for yourself, raise a complaint. CCTS or BBB org is a way to go. Yeah, don't let anyone screw you for something that you have not done, especially. Man, these telecom giants, you have to watch out. I don't think they are that nice. No, I really don't think so. They're all the leeches. Well, to support my case, you should read the disputes that Freedom Mobile has with all these telecom giants. You'll be surprised what Freedom Mobile has to say. So finally, my dispute has ended with Rogers because I raised a complaint with CCTS and BBB. CCTS was unhelpful anyway, but BBB, it was very helpful. So they reached out the case manager. So after I reached out to BBB org, a case manager reached out to me. He listened to all of the conversations, the phone calls that I made, the initial phone call, and then the end. So the benefit of the whole thing is because all of the conversations from the beginning to the end happened over phone, we can easily track and see whose mistake it was. So he apologized for all the inconvenience that was caused, and I was asking for a monetary compensation because lost time, mental stress, these things do have consequences, right? They gotta pay up, but they declined. But instead, they waived off the charges and everything, and then yeah, now they de-escalated the matters from credit reporting agency. Well, that's what happened by end of the whole situation. Now, I do have another opportunity at that time, which is to take legal assistance, talk to a lawyer, and see if I could sue Rogers for what they have done. Yeah, people with these kind of situations do get into trouble, and which is why I'm telling you, they had something called President's Office. So it's a head office right where all the big cases were going through. So they have a case manager for everything. So can you imagine if they have an office and specifically case managers tackling all of these disputes, how many disputes are they going through every year? And it's not nice. And why are you getting into so many disputes in first place? Well, they're I'm telling you, they are trying to make as much money as possible of a customer, whether you know it or not. And yeah, and that's why. And these Canadian telecom agencies, like companies, have no good reputation. You must know that. They're very bad. That's what you hear from the competitor, Freedom Mobile. Yeah, they do publicly stated that, they're all leeches. Some are on the desk, some are below the desk. They're leeches. Well, anyway, so the whole idea for me to make this video is to help you in your disputes. If you ever go through something and if you think it's not your fault, then please take a stand. See if you can negotiate, and if it's not negotiable and if you still think it is the telecom service provider's mistake, then you have the below two organizations that you can reach out to. With that, we've come to an end. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Cheers.